So Troy, he is a growth strategist. He helps people just because he's a nice guy. You really do, and I really do appreciate that about you. And he's here today to talk with us about conscious growth and community. So, without further ado, Troy, you have the stage.
Conscious growth pathways, how to make community a connected experience. I love to start with nothing because everything starts nothing. And I find if someone, just how we were experiencing, oh, it seems like it's technical difficulties, 1 second adds to 2 seconds, adds to 3 seconds. And initially, the perception is, oh, it's not a big deal. But then as more time adds on, it could be an even bigger deal. And it can be an even bigger deal. And it can be an even bigger deal. I think you all get the point. The truth and the honest truth of how you need to understand this, that's the same way with how you may navigate. Oh, it's just one person I didn't respond to. Oh, it's just one person that didn't connect with my marketing campaign. Oh, it's just one person that didn't show up for an event I put all this time in to do, until it becomes many and over again. And what we're trying to do really is to create these nodes of value to connect with people. It's a two-way street. It's not enough to just give value. You have to receive value. That's to protect yourself. That's to protect your business, to protect your investment, to protect anything that you're trying to do. Now, the thing to think about is that, yes, we're all connected. When we went through these nodes, each little circle that you see is a person. They're not zeros and ones, they're a person. And they're all looking to try to connect and get something. Everybody wants something. You all came into this conversation, this live stream, the Zoom experience, needing something. But I also probably think you have something to give. Now, the trick, the artistry in all of this is knowing how much to give in the return of how much you want to receive. How many of you have ever experienced you have given, sowed seeds, given, made connections, given, put things on, given, and for some reason your pocket's empty? For some reason, I didn't get that referral. I sent you all these referrals for years and I ain't get one. I done this and I'm not getting one. Well, before we get all in our feelings, I want to challenge you to consider maybe this person didn't have the capacity to give and meet the need that I needed, but I conveniently met the capacity they needed in that moment. So maybe it's not the person because they don't have the right capacity. So maybe it's on me to find the right caliber of people who do have the capacity to give what I want. More to-dos, less time. More to-dos, less time. And an infinite number of tools to keep track of. Doing business has never felt harder, more complicated, more exhausting than it's ever been. But you don't need a miracle to hit your goals. You just need HubSpot, because they're all on one customer platform can make growing your business infinitely easier. Imagine this: high quality leads, fast closing deals, wildly happy customers, and more benchmark breaking quarters. No, my friends, it's not a miracle. It is HubSpot. Convert your dream into reality and vision into actualization and marketing into money. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today. I love giving. I love making a big impact, but I also need to make some money. And I realized I was so frustrated why I'm taking all these clients, I'm doing all these events, but I'm not making money. I can't be frustrated at a certain groups that I've been targeting or positioning myself to be. Again, think about these nodes here, that they didn't have the funds or they didn't have the capacity. That must mean I need to go out and find others. So if I go back to me, I need to find people who would find value in exactly what I'm trying to do. I can't be mad at those who aren't. And eventually, when I add systems, then I can do it at a macro scale, but yet still with micro experiences, which creates this connected node. Well, I'm going to break down. I made it easy. It's 2 steps. We got 2 steps in this whole presentation. There's a lot of value in this presentation, but it's only 2 steps. Step 1, we need to find clarity. Now, again, we go back to what I talked about earlier about why is this not working? Why aren't people not buying? Maybe we're simply just talking to the wrong people. But even before we get that far, we have to dig deep to find clarity about who we are, what we're trying to do, where we're trying to go, our big why, and how we're going to do it. And the thing most people don't do is do mental introspection. So my 6 I's breaks down these phases of investigation, initiation, integration, implementation, innovation, and introspection. Now, it's easy. Most people do. They investigate the market. They investigate how we're going to make this money, how we're going to build this community, how we're going to launch these events, whatever you're selling, whether you're a product, service, whatever you're trying to do, you're even trying to climb up the corporate ladder, whatever it is, insert whatever goal it is. We have to investigate the land. We have to investigate the situation. Then we got to initiate. Then we have to integrate things as we're changing and evolving. We have to implement those things as well. But people stop at implementation. You don't do 5 events and just say, this is the structure of how I do my event. I need to innovate. What have I learned? What do I need to do differently? What I need to modify? I launched this campaign. I pushed out trying to sell 1,000 shirts. I got 50. I need to innovate. I need to do something different. And lastly, what most people don't do, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a business leader, we don't do introspection. Introspection is internalizing in your mind what it is that you need, what it is that you want, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats, doing the deep work internally to manifest externally. So when you apply these 6 phases, it allows you to incrementally improve and increase your odds of success while sustaining what you're trying to do. But this is only part of trying to find clarity and how we're going to amplify using community, how we're going to drive impact and growth and get the results that we want. The other part I like to call the Clover framework. After we do the 6 I's, we should have some set of clarity, but it doesn't stop there. Once we have clarity, we need to leverage. You know, the biggest thing people don't do? We don't ask enough. We think, oh, we're a burden. I don't want to bother nobody. And if I can be real, people of color in particular internalize this as, I don't want to seem as weak. When those who get the most, they ask the most. And they keep asking till they find the right people to ask. I literally made a post this morning about knocking on doors. You got to ask. The door is there. I got to ask, hey, can you give me a right key? Can you open the door for me? I'm tired. I need to navigate these things. So leverage what you have around you. What good is building a community if you can't leverage it? I would bear to think that most in your community are good intended people. And it's just figuring out what capacities can you help me in certain areas. From there, we have to then optimize approach, optimize our time, optimize how we're navigating certain things. And then keep in mind our vision and our value. And most people say, well, what's the difference between vision and value? Vision is seen very clearly what it is. We can almost manifest it. Value is the result of it that we're getting, that we're able to give to someone else. Not the result that we necessarily are getting is what we're giving to someone else. Clarity is having that understanding of it. Vision is manifesting it and seeing what it looks like. Then we got to execute. And then from that execution, we have to achieve the results that we want. Many times we will continue to do something over and over and over again just because, is it getting you the results that you want? Be real. Is it? You've been doing the same thing for the last 6 months, last 3 months. We set us up at the beginning of the year. This is how long we're going to do something. Well, after X amount of time, if it ain't working, why continue to do the same thing when we should be able to pivot? Now, the other part with knowing clarity and how to figure that out, we all want cash flow. We want that money. We want sales. We want customers, revenue, tickets sold out, thought leadership. We want the blue checks. If you ain't bought one, get one. We want all the different things that we can get. And so does everybody else. We're in this ecosystem where everybody wants something. And so let me guess, some of you may apply a flywheel. Some of you may run people through a pipeline. Some people may run through a funnel. And they got all these other words and things that marketers say to do. And I'm not going to talk about all that. This makes me dizzy and confused. Today, I'm going to make it as easy as humanly possible. Your goal, once you define your clarity and you're trying to build community to be advocates for you, to be ambassadors for you, to take action for you, is to simply create a pathway. It makes it easy. I'm just trying to make a pathway to you. And pathways to the mind. Do you have the right perception and the right perspective? Whatever you're offering, does it appear to have value to those who really need that value to be enticed and taking action to do it?
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Joy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
We have to be conscientious of ourselves. And we have to protect ourselves, protect our own investment as well. And so to get to where we need to go, we have to master 4 currencies: time, money, knowledge, and skill. I don't know if anyone here has ever played Pokemon. I'm a millennial, so Pokemon was really big for me and with Game Boy and coming up and everything. And they give you a starter Pokemon, right? And then from there, you have to go on your journey and do what you got to do. In the same way, in most cases, we all start with time. We exchange time for money. We barter time to gain other things. But time may not always be the best choice as we grow and evolve. Eventually, we'll get money. And from that money, we may buy back our time by gaining more knowledge to improve ourselves, gaining more skills as well. But also that money could be used to delegate, to build systems so you don't have to be doing repeatable processes. Erica showed me a lot of the tea in our green room session. I'm over here like, I need to improve my systems so I can save me more time to do more things that I need to do. But that, ironically, takes time. And we're juggling these 4 currencies to try to make this happen. But if we're juggling these 4 currencies, wouldn't our audiences be as well? So the question to think about is, when we're finding clarity and we're defining our value to position ourselves for those who may want to buy our services, our products, come to our events, be strong advocates in our community, what of these 4 currencies do we give them? Do we save them time by the value that we output? Do we make them money by doing what we do best? Do we give them knowledge, dropping them gems? Do they get better skill sets and things just by being connected to us? That doesn't mean you have to tackle all this on your own. Most times with me, I've learned with my community, I will make a connection to somebody else to do something that I don't know how to do, or teach you to do something, but I still get them brownie points because I was the pathway to do it. So in the same way, think about how you're navigating with your 4 currencies. And again, if we may start off and we're doing time, once we get that money, we can now reset everything. We can invest in more knowledge. We can invest in more skill. We can invest in more delegation to get our time back. We don't want to be stuck in the vortex of just time for exchange of something. We eventually want to get a place where it's doing it on its own and with less time, with better systems and processes. But from that, though, I have a thing called the DART methodology. And simply is to be direct, to be authentic, to be resourceful, and to be tactical. You want to be direct in your communication, you want to be authentic in your messaging, be resourceful in your approach, and be tactical in your execution. We define kind of the clarity side of what we're trying to be, and we're navigating this through the 6 I's. We've figured out our currencies, and now we're applying DART and how we're navigating this accordingly to engage and build credibility, build authority, build structure, and build high value, or what I like to say, cash, building cash. Now, from that, we have the 5 P's of connection. It's not enough to be direct, to be authentic, resourceful, and tactical if you can't also emulate or generate power, have personalization, engage in persuasion, be persistent. And the number one thing all of us need to get better at, no matter how patient you are, is to be more patient, because anything good takes time. So how do we do that? Power, personalization, persuasion, persistency, and patience. All of these things are being clear about your state of mind, being clear about your who, what, when, where, why, and how, being clear about your actions, being clear about who am I trying to go after, being clear about what does success look like, what does failure look like, when do we pivot, how do we pivot, and then knowing how to engage with your community. The thing about it is that connection is an ever-evolving thing. No matter how good you are at speaking, no matter how good you are at networking and connecting and pitching and making the ads, we can always be better at it. And the curveball is the algorithm changes, society changes, social economics change. So what was seemed like, an easy sell because of economy, things change now where this looks more expensive. That means I got to lean into more value. That also means I need to lean in more personalization and persuasion and persistency now, because maybe the node of people that I was referring to, talking to before, can't afford me at this time. And now I need to expand who I'm connecting to in the hopes of getting there. Now, from that, we have our 4 E's of disruption, and that's engagement, exclusivity, experience, and emotion. I always like to call this also as a modern way to do marketing, because, and many of you may not know, or maybe you do know, marketing 101 is the 5 P's. That's product, price, people, place, and promotion. But I always find now, because where we're at in society, we care more. We're smarter. COVID changed the game for everybody. We can see an ad a mile away. We can tell when something's automated, which doesn't deter it, but we're smarter now. The audience is smarter. So now this isn't enough. We have to embrace engagement, exclusivity, experience, emotion. That's how you're going to disrupt the market. That's how you're going to navigate and build those advocates and make sure the community remembers you. It's not enough. I got to stand out. It's not enough to just, I posted on LinkedIn. I'm done. Well, how many people engage with it? I always said the real magic is what's happening behind the post. How many DMs are you getting? How many emails are you getting? Everybody's chasing the big publicity thing, which has a component of it, the perception of it. But the bigger perspective is, how many people are really talking to me when I'm not posting? And we having real conversation. We're closing deals. We're building these opportunities up and things like that. For a quick example, me and Erica, we met at an event virtually. We got connected. Just because of who she was connected to and who I was connected to as a mutual connection, we transferred a certain level of respect, integrity, intrigue, and if you with that person, you good. We friends already. You know how we do. But that's the same way in business. That's the same way in social media. When you can collaborate with other people to disrupt the market through engagement, exclusivity, experience, and emotion, you win by proxy. This is the best group project ever. We didn't have to do anything but show up. And people already associate us with being in the win. I remember I had to speak at an event. I honestly didn't know who the keynote was because they didn't tell us. Later on, they told us it was Gary Vaynerchuk at the event. I think someone else was at the event. And I was just an opening speaker, nothing big. But when the graphic came up, Troy, your face is on there with these people. By proxy, you must be somebody, for those who don't know me, just by that. So in the same way, harness that power within your community. It's not about doing your own thing. Collaboration gets you a bigger piece of the pie than doing it on your own. Because I did drop a lot of different things. Let's take a breath here. Let's reset our mind a little bit, ease in, get a stretch in, get a sip of tea or coffee or whatever you need to do. I think most times when people are navigating in business, we get stuck on just maybe something we learned from a long time ago. And we don't think to add on to it. Well, I'm about to add on to it. The 5 P's was like all back then. Now we're going to the 7 C's of marketing. And that's just adding on another layer. And that's focus on the customer. That's content. That's context. That's community. That's convenience. That's cohesion. And that's conversion. If you notice, it's not so much that we're replacing anything. We're expanding. Our language expands. As we start off in school, we have basic words and we go on and we learn more elaborate words that articulate more complex things. The 5 P's was the standard structure of marketing. The 7 C's give us more context for how we're navigating marketing, defining the customer. What's the content and the context of what you said to your community? What's the cohesion in that? Are we converting in that? So again, the 5 P's are our standard. The 7 C's built from that. The 4 E's, we talked about that. And now, Troy, what's on the top of the pyramid? How do we move forward? How do we navigate this accordingly? And the top of the thing is always the mind. The thing that came out, I think, the real early 1900s that expanded in psychology, it was a thing called mind space. And it's defining, messenger. We are heavily influenced by who is communicating information to us, which is true. We are heavily influenced by what? Someone can say the same thing to us, but our best friend could tell us the same thing and it clicks differently. It lands differently than a stranger. simply by who the messenger is. And that's part of authority. Really, thought leadership isn't about, well, maybe to some people being an ego or whatever. But in my mind, human-centric, integral thought leadership is about creating this trust where now you see me as a messenger, where what I'm saying matters more than maybe someone else on the same level because you have that respect and trust for me as a messenger. From there, it's the incentives. Our responses to incentives are shaped by our desire to avoid losses and win something. This is why in marketing tactics, people say, and same thing with events, same thing with buying things, countdown before the discount goes out. You got 3 days, you got 2 hours to get this event, to get these tickets, or it doesn't work. Why? Because I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose that opportunity more than I don't want to win it. The pain of loss is stronger psychologically than the desire to win. I can wait. I'll go to the event next time. I'm good. Oh, so-and-so is going to be there? The music artist is going to be there? That's a one-time only thing? I got to go. Because the pain of FOMO is going to be stronger than thinking it's the same. So are you tapping into that? Norms. We are impacted by what others do and what's on trend. That doesn't mean you always got to be on it, but we can't deny what's happening on trends. Defaults. We all go with the flow, with our present thoughts, our beliefs, and our internal values. We can't force people to think how we think. We have to identify those who can emulate and appreciate how we think in a collective group by knowing their defaults. Salience. Our attention is drawn to things that seem relevant specifically to us. This is where exclusivity comes in handy, because we're going to group people in a way where, oh, this is exclusive because this is, not like us. This is our group. This is what we do. This is what our thing. From there, priming. Our actions are influenced by subconscious cues. Early on in my speaking career, I would be so influenced by how people may look. And I don't even know why they're looking the way they're looking at me. And ironically, every time I say this, some people change how they look. Like, am I giving you the wrong signal? But no, it's not. Again, it's perception versus perspective. Our actions are influenced by subconscious cues, by how we present, by how we share, by how we perceive certain things. We shift accordingly subconsciously, and we may not even know it. But how do we harness that power in the positive light to build a better community of advocates and drivers? Effect. Our actions can also be powerfully shaped by our emotional associations. And this could be internal, external things. When you're trying to launch an event, I always look at who's the speaker lineup, because I have an emotional association to seeing diversity in the lineup. This is my own perspective. In the marketing campaigns, how are you navigating? Are you tying to my emotion, or are you so obsessed with pushing the sell that you miss the human connection? Number 8, commitments. We seek to be consistent with our promises and reciprocate reactions. My dad always say, trust is all you got. It's your word. If you say, if I told Erica we did all of this, she did all this with me, and I said I'm going to be here, and it's 10:30 Eastern, and I ain't here. If it's 10:01 Eastern, I'm not here. I'm breaking my commitments, which breaks trust, which can tarnish a relationship forever. You can build it up all you want, and you can lose it in a day. So those commitments do matter, and what you promise in your marketing, what you promise with your experience of your events and things like that. Ego, we act in ways that make us feel better about ourselves. It's psychological. It's what we do, self-preservation. We're going to do what's best interest of us. So again, when we talked really early in the conversation, oh, people's not buying my product, they're not buying my service, they're not coming to my events. Did you make it about them? Whereas enough value, would they see the value to come? Or was it all about you? We have to find that alignment where we're giving value and receiving value back, and the nodes connect. Mistakes That Made Me, hosted by Iman Ishmael, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Mistakes That Made Me is the podcast that asks extraordinary business owners to share their biggest business mistakes, so you know what not to do on your road to success. Join Iman as she chats with some of the smartest minds in business about how to push through failure, adversity, and challenges, and accept it as an important and necessary part of building a prominent business. Because as it turns out, your biggest business mistakes often lead to your biggest lessons that then convert into your biggest blessings. Listen to Mistakes That Made Me wherever you get your podcasts. Step 2, take action. I love this. This is one of my favorite mnemonics, acronyms, if you will. All this stuff, I think 90% of it is from my book as well. The reason I even do acronyms and things like that, neurodivergent, but also it's easier to remember a simple word to apply something than a stack of books that you can't even frame all the different things to do it. And so most times with people, we do all the finding the clarity, we define the community, define what we need to do psychologically, how we need to present the messaging, everything else. Now we got to act. Now we got to do to convert, to drive the revenue, to drive the impact that we want. Now, step 1 in leads is lead gen. Leverage language to launch. If I started speaking Swahili or French or German on here, some of y'all may understand what I'm saying. Most people may not, but I might be giving you the gems you need to get to $1 million, $5 million, $10 million. But if I don't understand what you're saying, it doesn't matter what you have. I don't care. So you need to leverage language to launch. Are you speaking the same language as someone else that they can understand it? The second thing, you need to educate and entertain to enchant, to provoke and drive engagement. It's not enough to educate all day long, and it's not enough to entertain all day long. You have to do both to enchant, to win the heart. Next thing, which I love this one, attract and amplify to activate, to drive authority. We have to attract who we're trying to come through. And we have to amplify that message. And it's not just through us, it's through our essential community of people that we're doing. And as we're bringing them in as advocates, we have to activate them. It could be as simple as telling them what we need them to do, because no one's a mind reader. Ooh, I joined your community group. Now what? I'm learning things, but what do you want me to do? If you do it in the right way, you can have an expansive marketing team, an expansive sales team that cuts your thing in half, if not more, if you do it in the right way. Now, this one may seem a little corny, but I find it to be good from a story and connection perspective. Dream big and distinguish yourself to drive demand, drive impact, drive revenue. Sometimes, simply put, we just think too small. We may think just in the tri-state area. When your people is in California, your people's in New York, your people is those who listen to hip hop, your people, whatever the case might be, you get my point. We may think really small about who we're trying to attract as an audience because of the small group of people we've tested our ideas on, sent our products to, our market line to. And from that small portion size, we think that defines everybody. And it doesn't. It doesn't. This is the joy of social media. Because of social media, I can reach way more people, connect and do all these different things, and it can impact more in a bigger way. And so I encourage you not just to apply these things, but think about, am I thinking too small in my group, in my approach? But then you must distinguish yourself. You got to stand out. That doesn't mean you got to be, if you're an introvert, you got to be an extreme extrovert and do everything. You got to be on video 24/7. Look at the market of who you are and where you're trying to go to your audience. And what do they respond to? How do you navigate that? I want to share frequently, support often to shine. Most times we post one time, we talk about an event one time, we talk about our product one time, and we think everybody has seen it. Where 90% of the time, most folk ain't seen it. They don't even know. You ain't born nobody. You ain't born. Oh, my family is tired of seeing my posts. They're not buying from you anyway. They're not even your target audience. Why am I tripping up over them? I need to post this in a way that people understand. And the other caveat to this, it's not about broadcasting. That's the other problem with a lot of people. They just post, and don't create an avenue for engagement as well. So recap with this. Leverage language to launch, educate and entertain to enchant, attract and amplify to activate, dream big and distinguish yourself to drive, and share frequent support often to shine. Lead gen, engagement, authority, demand, and sales. Through those things. And again, collaboration is key here with your community because you can get no pie is no pie. Collaboration gets you some more pie that you wasn't going to get before with probably less work and effort. You do enough collaborations, you got a whole nother pie off less effort and energy, but it's done in a way where it's more equitable and everybody wins. Now, businesses that adopt the modern data-driven marketing strategies are 6 times more likely to be profitable than their competitors. When I say modern data-driven marketing strategies, most people forget the human element in the data because they don't see it. See zeros and ones. When you embrace modern marketing strategies like our 4 E's here, and we do like exclusivity, experience, emotion, and engagement, that's where the magic happens. That's why I always use this example because it's the perfect example. When the pandemic happened, and a lot of folk didn't have as much money, social economic stimulus was kind of crazy. How in the world did a nonprofit sector stay in business? How? Tell me that. How did they stay in business? Because they had enough people currency, human connection. With what little means people had, they gave a little to gain a lot, to maintain because they trust the vision and the value. And you mean to tell me for-profit companies, your agency, your entrepreneurship journey can't tap into that magic to ensure that when you have a hardship and you say, hey, I need to sell out on this thing, I need more clients of this thing, people may not be more inclined to either just do it just because or send you more referrals to do it just because? Think about that. The people currency is what's going to sustain us. The people currency is we're going to bring the right people to the table to make the magic happen in our business. But I always say, again, in the very early in my conversation, I talked about giving value and receiving value. And sometimes we give so much value that we don't have enough left. And the other caveat to that is we may hit a plateau where we don't know where to go. We don't know what to do anymore. Troy, I was on Instagram when Instagram was fire. Now it's not. I was on Clubhouse when Clubhouse was fire. Now it's not. I got to learn TikTok now. I got to learn these other apps now. I got to do these other things now. I got to do video more on LinkedIn. LinkedIn ain't even my jam. Like I don't know what's going on, Troy. It's okay. Let's take a breath. I always say when your cup is empty and you don't know what you do, you got to add. Got to add that water in there. But surprise, add means audience dictates direction. When you always use your audience as your North Star, you're going to do what you got to do. I may not feel like being on camera, but if the audience is saying, Troy, if you ain't on camera, I'm not going to give you money. Well, guess what? I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn how to be on camera, but it's justifiable because the audience dictates direction. Well, Troy, I don't know what platform to be on for what I'm trying to drive. Well, this platform I've been on that I love so much internally ain't making me no money. Well, the audience dictates direction. There's a separation between platforms that we love to consume versus platforms that we need to do and engage with to perform to get what we want. We have to know the difference. Sometimes they align and they're the same. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes the marketing campaigns that we think align for us, they're not. Audience dictates direction. Now, from that also, we have to know what's in our own cup. The audience can dictate direction, but I may not have the ability yet, the capacity yet to do certain things that you may need to do. So to be sustainable and as an entrepreneur, sustainable as a business, yes, the audience takes direction, but I also need to know my cup, my capacity, my utility, my performance. Where's my capacity, maybe financially even, to make this shift? Where's my capacity mentally to do this type of work? If we are an army of one, we have to keep our mental health in check, more so than we would if we were an army of few or an army of many, because everything is based on our ability to perform. If we can't, we're out of luck. So know your capacity, understand your utility, and know your performance. How do we define that performance and moving that forward? But the utility of what we're trying to do. Okay, if I added AI and somewhat to what I'm trying to do, what's the utility of it? And how am I going to measure that performance? And do I have the capacity to implement it? Do I have the time, money, knowledge, and skill to do it? Do I need to delegate it out? It's, again, following these processes to ensure that we can move things forward. But again, SMP, Smart Marketing Protocols, which basically is embracing technology, best practices, methodologies to maximize what we got with what we have. And from that, we have the multiplication of audiences to personalize and connection our one-on-one experiences. Just as I showed at the beginning of the presentation, the circle, the many circles, and the many of many circles, then a node of connection through these systems of smart marketing protocols, we can enhance what we're trying to do. But that's only if we know the capacity, utility, performance, how we're moving this thing forward. The personalization aspect, which matters from the human connection. The automation, which saves us time and energy to lean in on what we need to do best. And then the amplification to reach more people at scale was still a 1-to-1 ratio. And we're doing all of that to get to this. All of this work, all this effort, I need to get to the mind of those who want to buy, who want to connect, who will buy with me, be part of my community, who will be an advocate for me. I need to get to the mind. That leads us to conscious growth pathways, which meeting brands, meeting people, meeting audiences at the intersection of experience, entertainment, education, and empowerment. We're meeting people at the intersection, y'all. This is where we need to be. This is where we need to go. Are we creating the right experiences? Because that matters. Are we empowering them pre, during, and post? Are we educating and entertaining? Again, most people focus on the education and entertainment on the street, and we won't do enough experience and do enough empowerment to keep them and maintain them and stay in the mind. And as someone who is a DIBA advocate, for those who may not know, diversity, equity, inclusion, belongingness, and accessibility, I also think it matters in more ways than one. It's not enough to see green, if you understand my drift. We didn't make sure that we're equitable in how we're doing it, diverse, and our portfolio diverse in how we articulate who we're trying to talk to, be more inclusive, and make sure belonging in it. But all of those components are essential to community, because diversity equals revenue. Inclusion equals innovation. Technology equals scalability. Edutainment, which is education and entertainment, equals new media. And community equals sustainability. And when you have the right community filled with the right people who vibe with you, who understand your why, your value, your needs, who will be advocates for you, that when things happen, or you're trying to get to that next level of growth, maybe there's a downturn, you can make the ask, and these people will mobilize on your behalf to get you closer to what you want than what you could do on it by yourself. And through social media, and when you have the email list or the followers or the subset of communities, or they can join a live stream like this and be a part of a community like this, that's powerful. We may not see people currency as powerful as it is because we're looking at our bank account and they don't got as many zeros as we want. But if we have a bigger perspective on it, when I have the right people, I'm always have the ability for currency to get more than I can even imagine. Because I always like to think like this. If you had 1 million people and you have 1 million people for $1, how much is that? $1 million. $1 million. Oh, I asked 10 people, this small little group, they can't give me anything. And so I apply that mentality to everybody. And that's not the case. That's inaccurate. I need to find the right people. So, recap. We go from our 5 Ps. What's the product? Who are the people? What's the right price? Where's the right place? And how do we promote? To our 7 Cs of let's define our customer. Let's make good content. Let's make sure the content has good context to connect with a community that's convenient to consume, has the right cohesion, and drives conversions. And from there, we have our engagement, exclusivity, experiential, and emotional components, the highest level of echelon when it comes to that. And then our conscious growth pathways, which is simply human-first marketing using inclusivity and technology infusion with DIBA as the nucleus for equitable impact. When we build our business, our infrastructure on good bones is going to emulate that same thing as well. I know that was a lot. I'd be more than happy to discuss in more detail and more granular piece, but you want to learn about me, Grow with Troy has all my links, presentations, all that good jazz. Go there, have fun. And thank you for your time on this side of the line.
All right, Troy, thank you. That was amazing. I feel like you know me so well. Let everybody know one more time, where can they find you?
Yeah, so Find Troy, literally Find Troy. How do I find you? Find Troy. Everywhere on the internet, literally, every account is Find Troy, findtroy.com. Growwithtroy.com just saves you all the hassle and has all the links there for you. So you don't want to just search me all over Google. Growwithtroy.com be your Linktree link to share everything you need to do about me.
All right. And give us one call to action. What do you want us to do after seeing this presentation?
You better focus on your community. I'm always learning people first. I think for me, a lot of things that you see here are also more expansive in the book. But even more so, if you like how I talk, my energy and my vibes and things like that, the podcast is like this all the time. And that's all free for you to engage and explore.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.